First destination, Fort William. Second destination, Inverness. Third destination, John O'Groats. 217 miles, so that's quite a long way.
Morning. It's quite windy out there. I'm going to get breakfast and get the hell out of there. We need to get the tent down as quickly as possible, because not only is it chucking it down, which we knew it'd be, one forecast says 40 mile an hour winds, and the forecast says, hey, it's lovely and sunny and it should be raining. Yeah, guess which one I believe. The tent has really survived everything, including slug attacks. I've been defending the tent with salt. Yeah, wind. Right, for the first time ever, I'm going to actually unclip the inner. One of the problems with the Lanshan is to unpeg the inner before you can unclip it from the outer. I'm going to do that peg by peg. And hopefully it doesn't fly away. Yeah, of course it tries to fly away. Well, that one isn't even connected. There's a weird smell around here. Maybe it's the sheep stuff. But there's a smell of decomposition around here, which I'm not happy with. Right, yeah. Go away. Ugh, I'm hoping they're not under the tent, but who knows. The stormproofing, this sort of stuff, worked really well. But the fun thing will be taking it down in this wind. Yeah, the last clip. These are really difficult clips to use, actually. These clips, they're obviously invented for small Chinese children. They're really fiddly to get off. First time for everything, I suppose. I have to bleep a lot of this. What seem to be any slugs actually under the tent, as I can tell. So that's the inner and the outer. I'm sure I can't really show you much better because it's, as you might have noticed, it's blowing a bloody gale. So that's what the tent's like, just the outer. I've never seen this before. Net's got no idea what the hell the weather's doing, so I thought, hey, let's do this. Yeah, wearing my very natty, stylish frog tog trousers, frog tog ultralight rain suit. Really nice, very fragile, very cheap though. So if you're in a budget, really good. It's like you can get them for like 10 quid, 15 quid. Very easy to rip, especially the trousers. It's too wet. Let's talk about this. We'll see if they survive. I won the Battle of the Slugs, but at what cost? My new casualty. Shouldn't mess with me. I am slug killer. So the site's clear, well apart from slugs. It's going to be a gruelling day. I'm going 30 miles to get to Fort William. I don't want to be out here in this weather another night. Yeah, it's days like this. I'm glad I did it. And the conditions this morning were getting hilarious. It was like, whoa. Are you telling me it was just raining in that valley? That was probably was. Did say that it was going to brighten up later. Scenery. It's the marmot press. There you go. How to clip zips. I don't use them because it's impossible to do them when you've got the pack on. Yep, the path has become a stream. Look at the story that ruin has. One of the reasons I didn't stay was I had a bad vibe at that place. I don't know, my gut feeling was something bad happened there. And also there was 4 other people there anyway. And I wanted to be on my own. I want to be on my own. This is about the 13 mile mark from King's House. So it's about the halfway point between the two. 13 miles to go to Fort William. And it started raining again. So, yeah, onwards to Fort William. The bridge is guarded by a troll. You shall not pass. Well, they said it's a harsh environment for the sheep. Some sheep bones. Hey, filter your water supply, kids, because they've got sheep bones in it. Dead sheep. Those are some impressive falls. Scenery. I've had more conversations the last half an hour than I have in the last 7 days. Lots of people talking, sort of chatting. It's nice. And much more friendlier than grumpy person enders in sight. Although not for me. Well, we'll see how I feel. Amazingly, legs are okay. Not as trashed as I thought they would be at this point. At the sort of 86 mile mark or something like that. And the sun's out. Okay. Random weather of Scotland. But yeah, should get there today. Belt has failed. I won't show you. I'm trying not to flash the whole trail. It's going to be fun. I've seen a Fort William if there's a shop that's still built. So I'm sure there will be, but I'm not sure if you open by the time I get there. Because at the moment, what's holding up my trousers is the hip belt of my pack. Of all things to fail, really. We're about 6 miles, I think maybe 6.5 miles from mid-G's. I just kind of just be exhausted, as you would be if you've walked 90 miles 7 days. Obviously you would. Apparently there's a bench in Fort William for the sculpture, which is the start and end point. Sheep. Smaller country. Wow. Still amazing scenery. It's not as tumbly down as it was. And no cobblestones in the path as well. I'm liking that. Getting more into farmland and forestry rather than just sheep left to fend for themselves. It's funny, of all the things to rush to Fort William for, there's people rushing for a train or maybe accommodation or something. Rushing for a belt is bizarre. It all depends whether I can find somewhere nice near Fort William to camp. Either side. I have the OS guide. There's like another guide for the Great Glen Way. I'm going to compare them with the Harveys. I suspect actually the Harvey is better, especially for things like unofficial campsites. But we'll see. Another shot of the falls.exe. Had a nice lunch. I walked on like half a mile, and all of the lunch spots were, had people in them. Any boulder, any stream, and I finally found one that didn't. As I was fishing water from the stream, my backpack there was like 3 German people turning up, but they just sat down, and I was like, kind of difficult thing on this last stretch. There's no space for anything, and it's been a kind of an issue along the trip. Space for camping, space for even go to the toilet and that kind of thing. Nature of the beast in a way. It's kind of triggering my neurodiversity as well. I'm like getting a bit like that. A lack of reciprocal nature. I think that's what pisses me off. It's like I give people as much space as I can and ask beforehand if I have to infringe on their space. That rule isn't necessarily followed by everybody on this trail. And the funny thing is, I think me and the German family bonded. What brought us together was someone flying a drone. Yeah, we're like 3 miles from Fort William, and someone was flying a drone on the West Highland way. Just don't do that. If you're a YouTuber, you fly a drone, you're a dick. if you're in the middle of nowhere and you know that no one else is around, like some remote mountain, do whatever you want. But in parks, trails with the people, they should be banned. People may laugh at my selfie stick, but that doesn't go at anybody. It might take out a few cyclists, as I said to that family, but you know. And that's the point I'm making, really. People who come out here and just do what they please, and you say, oh, what harm is it? Well, it is a harm. You want to have a quiet lunch. A demented bee noise. I just think people think about more about that. Oh, that was a hard climb up here. Just trying to find camping spots. Going into Fort William from the West Highland Way, there's some greenery that I'm unfortunately not enough signal to see a satellite map, but there's greenery around. There are formal camping sites on the Great Glen Way going out, so we'd go out there if we have to, but I want to be as near as Fort William as I can, just to chill out for a while. Have a whiskey celebration. One of those, I think that one is Ben Nevis. Maybe they're all Ben Nevis. Maybe we are all Ben Nevis. No, I'm not climbing that. That is sunny Fort William. Last time I saw Fort William was on a bus to Portree in Skye. I was going to stay over, and I took one look at Fort William and went, nah, and then jumped on the coach for another 7 hours to Portree, which probably says everything you need to know. So I'm not really that fond about the idea of camping next to it, but maybe there's delights for Fort William I've missed or something. At the moment, the only ones I know of is the fact that it's next to Ben Nevis. And it's the end of this way and the start of the Great Glen Way. And it has some shops. That is an exceedingly big hill. I'll climb that in a minute or two. Wow. This is scenery on a massive scale. You generally don't get, I mean you do get here, but it tends to be more of a Canadian-American thing. I'm sure this doesn't do it justice. It's amazing to think that one river has made that big dent in the mountain. And all those dents all be made by rivers, like this one. Maybe it dreams to be like that one day. Yeah, Glen Nevis is another Let's Show Us Your Forestry Road special. Miles of this forest road. I mean, it's nice views of Ben Nevis. And, you know, some possible campsites up here, but because it's all uphill and a long way from Fort William, a couple of miles at least, I don't think you really want to camp up here unless you're starting a trip, really, which of course is incredibly hard on the feet. Not enforceable. In a panic, because it's not only it's raining, I'm in or near Fort William. I'm trying to find anywhere in the woods near there, because apparently they don't like wild camping. I've seen the signs. I did find one site, of course. Can you guess what happened? Yep, someone was already there. I was like, no! This is the best site ever. It's really hidden. Like, I have lost my water bottle, which is not a major problem, but I am very thirsty. So I want to camp somewhere that's not that obvious, because I want to be there for a couple of days. Annoyingly, there's no kind of central-ish campsite. Glen Nevis is miles from Fort William, and I don't really want to pay anyway. Not good. It's a bit visible, but the odd voices, people do come through here. No one said nothing. I'm sure somebody will at some point. But, you know,
I'm not bothering anyone, I'm not even in the sight of anyone. Kind of behind there. Fort William is just one long industrial estate. Also, it seems to be mostly closed. I'm half expecting to go back to the tent and find it trashed, all my stuff all stolen. You know, I had to put it somewhere really obvious. I couldn't find anywhere stealthy. I'm very worried about my tent. Left it a couple of hours ago at the top of Cow Hill. I was going to find a pub and celebrate finishing the West Highland Way. I've not seen a pub actually at all, weirdly. I'm sure there are in the centre, but I've seen these chain shops. I actually would not try to go back to the tent, even though it's a wet tent. I'm wet. Everything's wet, but I don't trust it up there. From Scotland, so I'd give these a go from Aldi. Yeah, you don't get the Lanshan sausage or all these south of the border. Then I got a replacement water bottle. A bit less slugs. Where I was taller grass, and when I got back there was so many slugs clinging to the tent. There's sort of just really big fat ones as well. So I've actually put loads of salt around the tent, and hopefully the salt also keeps the no wild camper people away. I'm hearing the odd voices outside, but I really, at this point, cannot give a I'm tired, I'm wet, and I've just had enough. When your slugs are that size, can you blame me? I didn't want you in my tent. So rather than going to a pub, I'm sitting on the bench. This is Fort William. Campus cough. You hear the old owl. It's kind of started to spot, but I'd like to have a drink here, or maybe dinner here, I don't know. I doubt I'd see any northern lights here. Too much light. And not too much cloud. Too much rain. We are going to celebrate finishing the West Highland Way with some Prosecco. I had to think about whiskey, of course I had to have some whiskey with me, but this one suggests itself. Aldi Prosecco is not expensive. So, cheers. Here's to the Great Glen Way number 2. This is where I ended up. Well, this is a beautiful day. I haven't had any aggro, apart from slug. We had Battle of the Slugs last night. Using a lot of my salt. I have to see if I can get some more salt packets, but I need to find some breakfast. I forgot to get some in Fort William, which is there. Sunny Fort William today, rather than the rather grumpy Fort William before. And I'm giving the solar panel another chance because it's such a nice day. Maybe it'll do something. I have my doubts, but you know. Yes. At some point I need to actually properly finish the West Highland Way, which is walk along the bit where I didn't do yesterday. I just didn't do it with my big pack. Do that and then go out on the Great Glen. But I don't know whether to do that today or tomorrow. I think today being a lazy day where I just hang around Fort William and finish the shopping. I did most of the shopping yesterday. Not that I was intending to. I was intending to just find a place and then find a pub and chill out. But just because I ended up having to do this belt emergency, I had to go and find somewhere. And then it's like, oh, there's an Aldi. Oh, there's an M&S. Oh, I may as well go to Morrison's and see what it's got. There's a lot more walking than I needed to do. What I wanted to do. On a day like this, I'm not sure I want to put on the big pack and struggle through this heat. But anyway, just having my coffee. And yeah, I haven't been bothered. I thought I would be bothered up here. Somebody else said hi. No one's told me off for camping here. So you can camp in Fort William, just don't be a dick about it, I think. It's obvious people have camped here. You can see there's the fires and a couple of pictures. Hello, doggo. You can probably smell my beef brisket. I got some beef brisket, it's probably smelling. And as always, yes, all of these places, local Utes or whoever was here, maybe whoever did that fire. We're going to do the womble thing. I can do this because I'm right near her. I feel bad that I haven't done more of this. I've done little bits. There's bits where I couldn't pick up because I literally have 13 miles to travel. Another one. Ooh, different monster. Probably the same people. Ooh, what's that? It's tartar sauce. Someone's probably been having fish and chips up here and leaving all their crap here. Which is very naughty. That's better. Now is cigarette butts. Oh yeah, and leave no trace, people. Please. Such a beautiful place. The rubbish and the mess, which wild campers get blamed for, is quite often left by, like those I'm sure they're very responsible teenage dope smokers. I can smell it. I was coming up here for a smoke. Ironically, when I've actually seen people dump stuff, they've been in their 60s or 50s, they're well old enough to know better. I mean, I'll give some leeway to young children and teenagers going through their rebellious phase, but it's actually quite often people who should know a hell of a lot better. And that's what makes me angry. If you've been here on this earth for 50, 60 years, you should learn to take your crap home with you and not just dump it. I think all of us wild campers should try and tidy up more, because it's we get blamed for it, even though it's not quite often our fault. It's like the camping management zone. We get blamed for a bunch of kids, teenagers likely, going out and then leaving all their tents, or abandoning their broken chairs and leaving loads of tinnies and crap there. And the way to defeat that, I suppose, is to be like wombles and try and at very least take litter home with you. That's the bare minimum, but I think we as a group have to do better than that and actually take more. But unfortunately, us dirty hikers, dirty wild campers get blamed for a whole bunch of ills that's got nothing to do with it. Listen to the legs. My knees are they're generally okay. My feet hurt a bit. Ankles are okay. My knees, though, they're quite swollen. The problem is that I don't know why it is, when I try and sleep, my legs always hurt. They've always done this. It's not just now. A day or two in bed and they're fine. In a proper bed. Something about it I don't like. It doesn't matter if I'm, what angle I am, flat, up, down. Maybe it's because I'm not perfectly flat or something. I don't know. There's something about it that's not good. This is the reason why I put in 4, count them. I padded it with 4 extra days. Because I was like, I didn't know how long it would take, I didn't want to rush it, and I wanted to have rest days. And actually I haven't taken any. I think I'll just chill out today. I think I've earned it. Yeah, one of the weirdest things about Fort William is that it has all these outdoorsy shops, and it has Ben Nevis on its doorstep. It's very much designed around the car or the rail. Like even the underpass sign directs you to a car park which doesn't have a pass on the other end. You have to walk around, and it's you're walking through a car park with no defined path. It's very like this. Lots of it. As I said, one long industrial estate. Fort William, and it's closed. Well, alright, not all of it closed, but a lot of it is closed on a Wednesday. I did not know this. I really fancied a proper fish and chips, and Macquarie's is one of the good ones. I was like, oh dear. But McDonald's has a charging point at one of them, which is why I think I see more McDonald's in my future. Quite funny seeing the multilingual signs, the Gaelic signs of McDonald's. You can just see my tent. How not stealth is that? By the Morrison's roundabout. This is the old fort, apparently, i.e. the fort of Fort William fame. Surprised they haven't turned it to a roundabout. Amazingly, they destroyed the fort for the railway and then this road. Like I said, it's a town that's about the road and the railway, not really people or history. Traditional joke. What have the locals got against that? Well, that fishing boat? I don't know. That's where the Great Glen Way begins, and we'll be here tomorrow. Apparently they used to have the Highland Games here when they cleared it. It is quite astounding that Fort William destroyed the fort that gave it its name. So the last bit of it was demolished in 1975. You thought we were going, oh, maybe it should keep some of this. No. This is the end of the West Highland Way, and I did 96 miles. This is Fort William, so I made it. So onward to the Great Glen.
That was the end of day 8 and day 9 of the Scotland West Highland Way trip. We travelled 11.7 miles and a total of 94.6 miles. Yes, we completed it. We travelled from Tyne Slugs to Fort William, but stay tuned because we'll be going on to Inverness in the next part of this series. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please click like or hit that subscribe button. On the screen now will be the next video in the series when it's available. It won't be for a little while, it'll be later in the year. Until then, it'll be the previous day. Thanks everyone for watching, thanks to everyone who supported this series, thanks to my members, thanks to everyone who supported the channel. I hope you're well, I'll speak to you soon.